So here we have another sentence placement questions, or you can say that insert sentence question. And well, here also we'll follow those six steps which I told you. Um, the first step is called as read the passage. Let's read the passage to understand what this passage is all about. And then after we'll go for the sentence and we'll try to follow the glue test. We also follow means and that whether the sentence tries to describe what, right? All such kind of steps which I told you earlier. Now, let's read the passage. The passage stated here, Somalia has been dealing with an enormous humanitarian catastrophe, right? Okay. So here you find out the event. The event is indicating about a humanitarian catastrophe uh, that Somalia has been dealing with. So, driven by the longest and most severe drought the country has experienced in at least 40 years. So, time is also given. Then the blank one. After that, 5 consecutive rainy seasons have failed. Now, we can consider that this could be the cause that the humanitarian catastrophe uh, has helped. So, it stated that rain, 5 consecutive rainy seasons have failed, causing more than 8 million people, almost half of the country's population, to experience what? Acute food insecurity. Blank 2. More than 43,000 people are believed to have lost their lives, with half of the lives lost likely being children under 5. The damage the drought has caused is far-reaching. Okay, so farmers have lost all their agricultural income, while pastoralists have lost more than 3 million livestock, impoverishing entire communities and leaving them on the brink of hunger or famine. Some, like the pastoralist, may never be able to go back as their livelihoods have been irreversibly wiped out. Fine. Now, this is something indicating about the problem, right? Somalia has been dealing with that's called as a humanitarian catastrophe, and the cause is called as 5 consecutive rainy seasons have felt, and 8 million people who have been suffering from means food insecurity, and you would find out people have lost their lives, means even livestock have been also you would say that they suffered a lot. Yeah, 3 million livestock. Even you also find out people are living on the brink of famine or hunger. So, and then after the conclusion is given, right? Now, after reading the text, let's move to the sentence and try to understand what this sentence is all about. Many have had to leave their homes behind, with more than 1.3 million people being displaced due to the drought. Now, if you observe this sentence talks about what? This sentence talks about displaced or displacement, right? So, second, it also talk about people leaving homes, right? Displacement, leaving homes, and also a consecutive, a consequences or a consequence for communities, right? So you can say that what it indicates about the human impact, right? Many have had to leave their homes behind, with more than 1.3 million people being displaced due to the drought. It means it talks about means people leaving homes, displacement. It also talk about a consequence for communities and also talk about the human impact. So in that case, the sentence here, the sentence is not a cause. It is not a cause, does it? So, because cause we find out in the paragraph, it is not a cause. So, if it is not a cause, so it is also not the background, right? It is also not the background, right? It is not a general idea too, right? It is not a general idea or general data. It is nothing but called as a consequence. It is nothing but called as a consequence of the drought. Consequence of the drought. So we understood that 1.3 million people being displaced due to the drought. Got my point? Now, if we look into the next step, so what would be the next step? We understood that we read the paragraph, like let's understand the role of each plan. So the first plan stated about what Somalia has been dealing with an enormous humanitarian catastrophe. So what do we find out? This is nothing but called as an introduction, right? So blank one is indicating the introduction, likely broad severity. So it doesn't specifically telling about the displacement, right? It only talks about what means the effect, right? So it indicates that what happened. So at the same time, when we go for the means blank two, right? So blank two is nothing but indicating about what before the blank two. What does it say? It stated about 5 consecutive rainy seasons have felt. 5 consecutive rainy seasons have felt. Now, in that case, this is a cause. This is a cause data, right? So introductory data, then you find out the cause data. So blank 2 would need to continue the causes, right? So not the consequences. So it is stated about 5 consecutive rainy seasons are felt, causing more than 8 million people suffered to experience acute food insecurity. And then after blank 2 stated about more than 43,000 people are believed to have lost their lives, right? With the half of the lives lost likely being children, right? Now, in that case, if I look at the blank means blank three or before blank three, it is stated about the mortality and impact. So mortality and impact. So blank three connect to death toll, right, and lead into economic loss, right? If you observe that, means farmers have lost uh, income while pastoralists have lost more than 3 million livestock, right? In that case, if we observe, what do we find out? Means farmers have lost income, pastoralists have lost livestock. So this is indicating about what? Economic damage. What does it say? It tells about the economic damage. Economic damage, isn't it? So if it is the economic damage, it is not the displacement, right? Now, if I look at the before four, what do we find out? Means farmers have lost income, pastoralists have lost livestock, impoverishing entire communities, right? So blank four must talk about what these communities had to do next, isn't it? So means that indicates about displacement that fits obviously in the blank four, and therefore we can write that means many have had to leave their homes behind, with more than 1.3 million people being displaced due to the drought, isn't it? So it tells about the cause, it tells about the impact, it tells about the economic, what you can say that economic damage. Then after the last is the consequence, which is stating about they left they left their homes, right? So because and displacement occurs. In that case, means if we observe here, means it directly connecting to living homes. So the displacement sentence fits perfectly here, right? Now, if I talk about that, means step two, we match the meaning of the sentence, right? The sentence describes the people losing homes, leads into may never go back, right? That follows the destruction of livelihood. Therefore, we can consider it must comes after the community has lost everything. So the sentence must come after the community has lost everything. That is exactly the sentence before blank 4 is indicating, right? Now, if I talk about the step three is what? That indicates about the glue test, isn't it? So when you talk about glue test, so we need to put the sentence in the form. And what do we find out? We find out impoverishing entire communities and leaving them on the brink of famine. So many have had to leave their homes behind, with more than 1.3 million people being displaced due to the drought. So some, like the pastoralist, may never be able to go back. So it's a smooth, perfect, logical, and natural, right? Now, if I talk about the other options, what do I find out? The other options, option one, uh, when we talk about that, it's a too early. Displacement is a latter consequence, not a part of the introduction. So similar to that, when we talk about blank two, so blank two is also indicating the rainfall failure statistics, right? So that would break cause or effect logic, isn't it? So similar to that, if you talk about blank three, so blank three also leads into economic losses. So displacement doesn't fit here. And four, which is the appropriate, and that's why it is known as the final answer, right? So when you talk about such questions in general, means like I pointed, identify what the inserted sentence type is, right? So you observe the cause or effect, background, data, description, conclusion, right? Read before and after each blank, match the correct function, right? Use the glue test like sentence before plus the sentence given here plus sentence after, isn't it? So even reject also mismatches first, like find out the why this sentence is not fit in the first, second, and third, why it is fit in of fourth. So first, second, third, like when you put it in each of the blank and try to see that whether it fits or not. So that's what is nothing but a kind of a ways through which you can reach to the answer. So here also same, it happens. So finally we reach to the answer option 4, right? A should be the answer. Hope you are clear. Thank you.